Hi, you're listening to Scribble Talk, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundaram, and with my co-host Ashley Case, we'll be sitting down with our industry leaders to share their stories, discuss their career, and learn how to make an impact in the industry. Today's guest is Hilary Fredrick. Hilary brings over 15 years of experience stemming from broadcast journalism, proposal management, capture, business development, client and account management, and marketing and communications to the table. Wow. With a diverse background, she has worked with clients and accounts in federal, commercial, and nonprofit space. She's an active member of the NCA Chapter 2018 40 Under 40 Award winner, presenter, and panelist at 2017 18 APMP conferences. She's a marketing manager currently for Maximus, focused on brand elevation and engagement, market strategy, and execution for Maximus Federal Services. There is a lot more to Hilary. Let's chat with Hilary. Welcome to Scribble Talk, Hilary.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hilary, let's go back to the very beginning. Let's talk about your early life and your career.
Early life in my career. Well, as you mentioned, kind of in that crazy introduction, when I hear all the things I've done over 15 years, it's quite diverse. But I did start out originally to go to school, and I thought when I was going to grow up, I'd be a broadcast journalist, but behind the camera. So a news producer, actually. So I learned obviously how to read quickly, absorb content quickly, write even quicker, very succinct, to the point. I enjoyed doing that. And then when my life kind of took a turn, I got married. I realized I was working 6 days a week. The schedule was insane. And I thought, well, what can I do to still leverage that kind of creativity that I like, and using the journalism degree that I had worked so hard for, and really, sharing stories, crafting, very succinct responses. And actually, it was my husband who said, well, there's a company that I work for. They have a lot of positions open. I think they had something that was like proposal writer, proposal coordinator. I was like, okay, great. So I took a chance. And way back in 2007, I got my first kind of opportunity into proposals with Jacobs Technology. And spent a good amount of time there, really learning everything from the ground up, and working my way through kind of every position that you could possibly have in kind of proposals and proposal management, learning from a really great team of mentors from BD and capture management standpoint. And so then I was like, okay, well, let's kind of see what else is out there. I left them, and then I went over to PricewaterhouseCoopers, or PwC, in their public sector practice, and got the ability to manage a team within the proposal space. So that was an exciting kind of step up of having direct management expertise. And then I thought, I kind of want to see again, what's out there, but really still leveraging that kind of creativity. So I went over to a full service creative agency at the time that was called Chief, or actually Rock Creek Strategic Marketing, who then became Chief. But that was really great because it was leveraging that kind of creative side of my brain, the writing, the storytelling in a proposal aspect. But I worked for a creative service agency. So we worked with federal clients, we worked with commercial and nonprofit clients on developing, proposals that were aimed towards creative and communication services and digital services, web design and development, user experience. And I really liked that. So I spent 8 years in a creative agency space working for Chief, which then became U Group, and then went over to Teote Creative on Capitol Hill for a while. And then I thought, agency life is very fun, very interesting. It's also very taxing. And so being in that space, I wanted to kind of go back to that larger organization. So I found myself at Maximus Federal, now stepped away from the proposals and the BD and the capture management and really focused back on that creativity, that storytelling and writing to help with brand awareness and amplification of the Maximus brand in the market. So I have a very kind of mixed bag. I'm almost like a Swiss knife of I guess, proposal and marketing and communications and client engagement as well, mixed in there. So I have a very unique background, but I think that's what I really like about where I kind of started was just that underlying journalism degree. I really feel that I've stretched it to the max, becoming a lot of different things when I want to grow up. And I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, by the way, but I've had a fun time doing it over the past 15 plus years.
Totally, Hilary. I think you kind of ended it in a beautiful way. Hilary, where were you born, Hilary? I think your early schools and stuff before you even pursued your journalism career.
Oh yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then I was there, since birth, Steelers fan through and through, and then I went to West Virginia University for college in Morgantown.
Got it. And were you there for your middle schools and senior schools before you pursued university there, or?
Yep, I went to middle school and high school in Pittsburgh, and then spent some time, and then went to Morgantown for college at WVU, and then I worked for a little bit in news in West Virginia, and then got married and moved to Tennessee. So I spent 6 years in Middle Tennessee. And then finally moved up here to the DC area, and I live in Maryland now. So I've been in the Maryland or the DMV for the past 10 years, which makes me, I think, like a local. You have to be a decade as a transplant, and then you get branded like you're a local. You understand the rules of the road and the craziness that is Washington, DC.
Ah, that's beautiful. And the university, which university did you pursue journalism?
West Virginia University.
Okay, West Virginia, nice. Because as I mentioned, I was in Washington last week. My God, I was so impressed with the amount of trees that you had, because I took the cab from the airport all along. I mean, like, it was so beautiful. And then obviously DC with all your memorials is a totally different ball game altogether. I should spend at least 3-4 days next time. But now, kudos to you and all the people who live around Washington and the nearby areas like Maryland. You guys have a blessed life, I have to say. So, as after journalism, was this role that you took, that your husband recommended, was your very first role, or did you do any part-time roles in between?
No, there was a very small stint. I believe I worked for, it was a party rental supply company, which was very interesting. I think I worked there for a total of, maybe 8 hours over the course of 2 days. Only because it was like, I knew I needed to do something and not just sit in the house with our dog all day long. And then that's when I was like, no, this isn't, let's find something that's more suited to you and what you want to aspire to be and do. And so I did that. But then I think also in that kind of interim in between time, I guess this could be a fun fact, is that I almost became a riverboat tour guide at the Opryland Resort there in Nashville. Again, because I liked talking, and at the time I thought, well, this could be a fun, like, in between kind of job. But I did not end up taking that after 2 interviews, and they wanted me to do a third. And I was like, be a riverboat tour guide and give tours to tourists through the hotel, I think that's a little bit much. So I just said no. I said, no, thank you.
Wow. I mean, like, every experience matters, right? I'm glad that you pursued it. Yeah, that's brilliant. over the years, I think, it's amazing how much exposure you had, I think, from journalism all the way into marketing, into communications, capture proposals, and so many, and now with this tour thing. Talk us through some of your memorable projects, good, bad, ugly, and anything that you want to share.
Oof, that's a lot. That's a lot of projects. I mean, I think when I look back and think of like the proposals and the late nights and the war rooms and the pizzas and the, all the junk food that they feed you to keep you moving and going. A lot of times, if I think to like one of the best, I think, one of the best times comes down to we are working on a proposal, and I'm not sure if I'm able to say who this was, but even though I don't work for the company, I'll still be mindful of the NDA and transparency. But it was a really interesting concept. It was for more of a creative focused kind of communications for a large federal agency. And they made us work on a presentation, and it was very strict rules, right? It was oral presentation, very strict. You had 8 slides for 8 minutes. You had to bring your key team of key personnel, really timed out, really well thought out storytelling. I mean, it's like 8 minutes and you have to cram in a whole slew of, your approach and your methodology and your differentiators, and really trying to work with our team who had never really thought about putting something like that together, and how do we make it so impactful and down to the minute, down to the second. How do you get your story across and make it compelling and memorable? Oh yeah, you also want to win this thing because it was a very large, $50 million effort. That was pretty exciting. And I have to admit, it was a lot of, again, a lot of late nights, a lot of, is this the right slide? Is this the right word? Is this the right, thing to say? Is it going to make it in the 8 minutes? But it was nice to kind of bring years of experience to that moment, to that specific team, to kind of help figure out and craft how to get to that awesome presentation point. And at that time, that was, stressful, but we did end up winning that work, that bid. And what was great was that was like the largest contract award for me personally that I was really, really heavily involved in. And also that was the largest contract award for that company at the time. So to be able to win that personally and professionally and for the company, because, when you're in business development, every proposal feels like it's your own, like a child. You spend so much time with it, fostering it, waiting for it to become, real and become a contract. And that's an experience that I'll never forget, because it was such a great catalyst for the company to be able to grow, to hire new staff, so it's like it was a great experience all around.
I think for your personality, that looks like it's a very interesting, because you're so curious, and looks like that project gave you a lot more to play with. Hilary, thank you for sharing. Do you remember your very first proposal, Hilary? Very first one?
My very first one, it's kind of funny because this would be when I was back at Jacobs Technology. And we would try and plan out really things, far in advance, right? They were very long-term capture cycles because they worked on very large efforts across, the DoD and NASA and, really long-term procurements. And so I remember our manager would make a chart, and kind of identify the capture teams and the proposal lead and proposal manager and proposal coordinator. And I would get on that list and I would say, oh, okay, I'm going to work on this bid for NASA, and the draft RFP is going to come, and the draft, then like the draft RFP keeps getting pushed out. And then I'd get a draft RFP with my team, and we would review it, and I'd get real excited, only to find out that maybe a month later they no bid it. And this happened a bunch. And so, my colleagues assigned me the call sign of no bid, because I feel like I feel like my colleagues at the time were all getting to work on proposals, write different content, different sections, past performance, resumes. And then there was me, no bid, who I feel like it took the longest time to get anything together. But if I have to think back, I think my very first proposal that I actually finally got to do was for the Air Force. And it was an engineering technology acquisition support services contract. I still remember the acronym. That's pretty good. And I finally got to work on it, but I feel like it took forever because my no bid stigma stayed with me, because our capture teams just never wanted to bid on, I think, anything unless they're absolutely sure. So finally I got something that was for the Air Force, which was exciting.
Wow, I think that's a lot of discipline. Normally it's the other way around, where companies tend to bid a lot more and you end up doing 3 or 4 proposals a day or a week rather than just focus on one. That's nice. Again, you have done both federal, commercial, and nonprofit. Hilary, how was the transition working on proposals at 3 different kind of sectors?
There wasn't a lot of transition because they would all happen at once. So it was nice because I might have a federal proposal going and a commercial at the same time. And so obviously the elements are always they're going to be the same in terms of how you have to craft your approach. And obviously there's pricing that comes into play, and okay, show me your past performance and where have you done it and the people who are going to work on it. But I think for me, the kind of differing factors between the two is obviously federal is more stringent, right? So it's very prescriptive when you look at the request for proposal in terms of it has to be, Arial size, font size 10, and this has to be the right section, this order. Commercial is a little more like, just tell us, right? And it's got to have the same feelings of the sections, but it's much more loosely put together in some instances. And commercial, you can be a little more creative too. Even just how you put together the template or the Word document, it can be a little more enticing, a little more flashy, a little more Gucci, as one of my old bosses used to say, which just meant like more photos, make it look different, make it stand out a little bit more. When it's something that's not going back to the federal government, you had a little more leeway. So it wasn't a transition as much as it was kind of just remembering to turn what part of my brain off when writing, or, laying it out or outlining the response, or even just how you approach the whole project, dealing with customers or on the client side. Commercial, I could call up the person and ask them directly any questions. With federal, they don't really like the phone, and you have to email your questions by a certain date and hope that they answer them. And so it's just a matter of just turning off that part of my brain of, okay, don't ask this, ask this. Don't call them, email them. So
that's nicely put there. I get what. A lot of proposals from journalism. You kind of had hands full on so many things, and today you are senior marketing manager with Maximus. Talk us about your current role and focusing on brand elevation and engagement. How do you kind of bring your wider experience to this role, and also anything else you want to share?
Sure. Yeah, I've been in my current role at Maximus since April, and it's nice because just a little bit after I got there, the company went through a new, I would say, a brand refresh, right? We're still the same Maximus name, but obviously had a new look and feel. And then over time, really been working across the federal team and markets to say, okay, this is our new focus, our new differentiation. And that's what kind of really got me excited and intrigued when I took on the role with Maximus, is that I wanted to figure out how to continue to bring that kind of creativity and storytelling approach. So, as I said, I don't deal with proposals. I don't deal with sales anymore, but obviously marketing helps to enable sales and capture and BD to do their jobs and do it well. So my whole, when I think about all the things I have going on in my kind of to-do list, is really, first and foremost, how can I make sure that our brand is out there so that we can be, in the competitive space where our, others in the competitive market are, we want to be top of mind. We want to be seen as the best of the best. And, in doing so, it means I've got to make sure that, our website is outstanding, and the content and the copy is amazing. And the content and thought leadership articles that we're putting out from our subject matter experts, those are getting put out in a way that makes people stop and think and click and read. And obviously giving our BD and our sales team the right tools, such as, new messaging, new positioning, new words and things that they can weave into those proposals, the executive summaries. All of that stuff makes, kind of makes the world go round, right? You need customers and clients to understand who you are and what you do. And so I try and think back when I did proposals, did sales, did capture, and even worked, after contract award on the implementation of the contracts and the work, and working through, with the folks on the ground running the day-to-day of the program and the operations on the contract side, thinking about, okay, what did they need to see and understand once you're in the day-to-day, and then taking a step back and saying, okay, well, how can I put that into the, the marketing efforts that I'm doing today? So it just really is a nice, I think, culmination of all the things that I've learned and how I can put it all together. And it's just that, that creativity and that storytelling, again, that's so important for what I do in my job. As far as brand awareness, I don't have to be a subject matter expert in any one specific agency or, area focus. I really just focus at the highest level across what is the main pillar or focus areas that our federal team is working towards, and how can I help, point people and customers in the right direction so that we can open up doors, for the proposal folks, for the sales folks. To me, that's really exciting because it all works together. You can't be super successful in telling your story and proposals if no one has heard of you. So that's where my job, I feel, is really important to help make that connection.
Well said. Again, storytelling is an art, and marketing, as you rightly said, hands over to sales, and sales hands over to proposals. And it's a kind of nice and I normally see people who kind of move themselves both on the front side of a proposal or at the back side of a proposal, because that's where learning happens. What happens before the proposal lands in your desk, or what happens after you submit a proposal, that sort of things always makes you, ability to learn those things, apply yourselves, always helps you. Thank you. Thank you, Hilary. That was amazing. We learned a little bit about your the life, career, journalism, how you are a total all-rounder, and how you kind of learned from every single thing that you applied for, Hilary. So at what point in your learning career or in your career that you came across APMP as an industry body? Talk us through your association with APMP. Also, congratulations on your 40 Under 40 2018 award as well. Talk us through all those things. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it was back. I remember I was back at in Rock Creek Strategic Marketing, and our boss at the time was really big into APMP. And when I came on board, he said, "What do you know about APMP?" And I said, "Absolutely nothing." He said, "It's a tremendous organization. I'm going to sign you up. We're going to get you a membership." And I thought, great. And so, obviously got me signed up, got me in there. And I'll never forget, my real big first exposure was we went to Bid and Proposal Con in Seattle that year. And it was great. It was so nice to be around so many like-minded, bid and proposal professionals. And I feel like I've heard that, same kind of tagline or message from every single APMP focused person that I've met, is like, that's what you love about APMP so much, is just being in that same space with people that get it, that get you, that have done a lot of the same things that you have done. And if you haven't done something, you can find someone within seconds that can help guide you. There's so many good resources that they're not afraid to tell you the good and the bad and the ugly, of maybe their experience within a proposal or their career journey. And so it was really back in 2014. And then, things just kind of progressed from there. And I thought, okay, well, I think it would be fun, to throw throw my name in the hat and, let's do a presentation and write, see what happens. And so I was, eager. And I think I put in for 2 different sessions the following year. And that one was in New Orleans. And then I got the emails and like, congratulations, you're presenting 2 sessions. And so it was like, oh, okay, great. But by doing that, it was really awesome because then I even got more entrenched, I feel, with the organization and meeting the other, speakers and, just being kind of in the more forefront of that APMP world and conversation was really great. I've met so many good connections over the years. And I liked it and I liked being involved. And so then I, submitted some other presentations for other bid and proposal cons and for, I think, the MAC somewhere in between there. And then I, nominated for a 40 under 40, which was great. And then I joined our local chapter here in Washington, D.C., the National Capital Chapter, as a board member doing events. And so that was awesome of trying to, bring together other members in the area and really just trying to plan things so that our chapter members could, gain value and meet and mingle and network and learn from each other. And so that was an exciting opportunity. And then I also was involved with the board a few months back on the Graduate Pathway Program, which was a partnership with George Mason University and was the board member to kind of lead that initiative as well. So it's been a great experience with APMP, and I was very thankful for that boss and mentor years ago that was like, we're going to sign you up. You're going to love it, because he was right. It was a really great experience.
That's great, Hillary. I mean, it's becoming a member is one, as I always say, but going and presenting in kind of BPC and Max and others, or second one, obviously the volume of people is much high, but taking it to the next level of actually being part of a local chapter like NCA and then contributing back and, mentor-mentee, internship, career path programs and stuff. I'm just that absolutely, it's so great. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I invited you to this talk. It's not just being part of it, but also taking the time in your busy career and giving back. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you for everything that you do and continue to do the same for the foreseeable future. So, okay. So we talked enough about professional career. Hillary, talk us through 3 things not many people know about you. I know you shared one. But let's park that. Maybe any other 3 things if you want to share, or any 2 things that you want to share.
Let's see. And these are just random facts about myself, intriguing facts the world wants to know. Yeah. I would have to say, and I was reminded of this a few weeks ago, is that I actually, and it's very timely for Halloween, is that I actually had a piece of furniture that I believed kind of was haunted by a ghost, which I still have this piece of furniture sitting in my house to this very day. But most people don't know that I'm pretty convinced that years ago, this piece of furniture was haunted by a ghost. So a few people know that, but maybe not all of the people that I know that. What else? Another fun thing about me. I mentioned that I almost worked for a riverboat tour guide. I do love to talk. I'm trying to think another one. I guess the other thing that comes top of mind is that I'm a mom. I'm a mom to a boy who's he's like the second love of my life. I live with him and my husband in Maryland. And he's in first grade. So his birthday's coming up in a few weeks. I guess he's on the top of my mind, but despite having all this, crazy love of work, I do have also a crazy love for my kiddo. So that's another fun fact. Working mom, balancing the work from home life and occasional going into the office while making sure that he's doing what he's doing in first grade.
That's nice. Again, if anybody wants to visit Hillary to have a look at the haunted ghosted table.
That's right. It's a haunted dresser. Yes.
Haunted dresser. Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to come.
It's not haunted anymore. I feel like I got the ghost away. I had to let the ghost know years ago that I liked the dresser. I was using it. I really enjoyed it. and to please leave me alone. And that seemed to work. So the strange noises with the dresser and the other strange things happening in my apartment those years ago kind of ceased. And I still have the dresser today, and it does not make any noises, or I don't feel like I have any other like ghosts lurking around. So
yes. So again, when
I feel like I'm the first guest to say that they had maybe a haunted piece of furniture. I feel pretty safe to say.
yeah, totally.
Yes.
So let's have a look at any other hobbies and interests, Hillary?
I love to travel, and I think I love to plan the travel as much as I love traveling. So I think that goes back to my, obviously back to like way back in college, figuring out how to plan a newscast, then figuring out how to plan a whole proposal and timeline and response. And now I still do planning, but I really like planning for vacations and traveling. I also like to do cooking, and I also paint. I'm not very good, but I do like to just, flex my creative muscles and paint things from time to time, abstracts or flowers or whatever. I'm not very good at people, so please don't ask me for a portrait. But yeah, those are just some of the things that I like to do.
Nice, Hillary. Perfect. So let's officially enter the rapid random fire question rounds, or in honor of Howard Nutt, we call it the Nutters round. There's no right or wrong answer. Anything comes in your mind, just go with this. And normally it will be around your hobbies, interest, or anything, or it could be totally random. Are you ready, Hillary? Shall we go?
Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. What's the weirdest thing you have ever eaten?
Weirdest thing I've ever eaten. Uni or sea urchin. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Where did you had it?
We were at a restaurant in Philadelphia. It was a sushi restaurant, and we got the omakase, which is like chef's choice. Right. And they just kind of bring you out course after course after course. It was 12 courses. It was amazing. And one of them was just this little pile of uni or sea urchin, and it was delicious. But it was like, that's a very weird thing that I had never eaten before then.
The way you pronounced it was very, very Japanese. So well done, you. Amazing. Nice. So what will you do if you have a time machine?
Oh, if I have a time machine, can I only make one stop in the time machine? Can I make multiple stops?
You can make maybe 3 stops.
Oh, maybe 3 stops. First stop, I do want to go back and see the dinosaurs, but as like a flying dinosaur, because I don't want to be like eaten. I want to just be able to like quickly see what it was like when dinosaurs were around, and then fly, and then, kind of be able to get away or perch like high up in a tree and not, like I said, not be eaten. The second, I would like to go back, I think, and I would want to meet Teddy Roosevelt. Out of all the presidents, I find him the most intriguing. I do like to hike, and I'm a big fan of being outdoors. And I think his greatest legacy was kind of creating the national park system. And he was also a wild character. I think he would be a fun person, like have a drink with, go back and meet Teddy Roosevelt. And then the last place I would want to go would be, I think back to, maybe like the 1920s. 30s. For some reason, I just liked the clothes. And I liked how like very put together everyone was. And it's just a simpler time. I like that kind of decade era experience in our history. I liked the music. I liked the vibe. I liked the clothes. But that's it. I just would want to go and spend like a day and then experience that and then go home. So those are probably my top like 3 stops if I had my own Back to the Future machine.
Why not? It's interesting that you chose all the past rather than the future, which is quite fascinating. I think it's very rare when I ask this question, people say, I want to go to 2346 to just see how the world looks like. But
wow.
Nobody says that. That's what I mean. Nobody.
No,
It's always about what they know already and some of the interesting characters they want to meet, or their late family, late parents, or something like that. It's quite interesting why people want to go back to the past than about the future. So as you know, Halloween is coming. As if you were to attend a Halloween party, what would your costume be? Why?
Ooh, I went to a Halloween party. I'm not going to any Halloween parties, but if I were, I would probably make myself, I think, like a fun dragon could be neat. I think a fun dragon costume could be pretty cool. I've been into making my Halloween costumes for my son. So this year he's going to be a knight. So I think that's why dragon is on my mind, that I would be a knight, or a dragon, then he's a knight. But yeah, I would say that would be a complimentary costume. A dragon, a very cool dragon.
Cool dragon. Sounds good. So what was the very first band you ever saw live?
Ooh, first band I ever saw live was Dave Matthews Band.
Nice. Do you remember when you saw that?
Oh gosh, maybe it was like 1998.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Nice.
98 or 99.
Okay.
Yeah. Really long time ago.
That's okay. That's a good memory you had. So if you had to eat a crayon out of its box, what color would you choose to eat?
Oh, teal.
Teal. Oh, that's very specific. Why?
Yeah. I think I like that blue. I like the blue color general, like family. But when I think of crayons in the box, that was like the first one that popped into my mind was the teal. I just like that shade, I guess. So teal.
Nice. What do you normally get every time when you go for grocery shopping?
Ooh, normally get every time I go for grocery shopping, ice cream.
Ice cream, perfect.
Ice cream. Ice cream, it is.
Perfect partner. I train in the gym every day, Hillary, and then every night I have an ice cream. So so my kids and my wife is like, what's the problem? Like, why? I mean, like, that's perfect. Nice. So yeah, so that's good. And if Jurassic Park was real, would you visit it?
Yes, I would visit it today. Yes, I would visit it for sure.
Totally. So if you could go anywhere, visit anything at the moment right now, where would you choose to go and why?
Oh, Florence, Italy. I would love to go back. I was there years ago, and the food is why I would go back, hop on a plane right this second. Just the food is amazing and the people are amazing. Just, it was a great experience, good core memory. So Florence, Italy, that's where I would go.
Nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Totally. So what movie or a book character are you most similar to?
Oh my gosh. Movie or book character? I don't know. I would say the one that comes to mind the most would be probably Tina Fey from 30 Rock. I tend to, when I work, I wear glasses that look kind of Tina Fey-esque, is what my husband calls me, my Tina Fey glasses. And I like her kind of, she's just goes with it. She's very open, very honest, very sarcastic, which I think can be me at times. So that's the first one that comes to mind would be Tina Fey. Yep.
Got it. That's nice. So what's a dream that you have never said out loud so far?
A dream? Like a sleep dream, or like a dream I aspire to be dream?
Oh, okay. That's an interesting way of looking.
Yeah.
Let's start with the sleep dream, and then let's go back to the other dream as well. That might be interesting. Yeah.
A sleep dream. I don't know. See, the weird thing is that I have very odd dreams all the time, and then I wake up and just tell them to my husband, who is just doesn't understand the weirdness of my dreams. But the one that comes to mind the most, that I probably have told him like once or twice, and then he's done listening to my weird dreams, is for a long time, I would have dreams that I would be like forgetting to study for something in college. You'd go to the class and I wouldn't even have the book with me. And there's this massive final exam of the semester. And I have no idea. Like I never went to the class at all. No idea what's going to be on the test. And it's just that pure panic moment. And then, you're in the dream and you're trying to like just talk yourself out of it. You're like, this is a dream. It's not real. You're not in college anymore. That was so many years ago. Wake yourself up. But then you let your brain keep going down this awful path and like just making you feel even worse and worse and more fueled with anxiety until your alarm goes off. I feel like I've had that once and I've told him, and then he just is okay. That's nice. But that dream happens, I think, it's pretty regular. Maybe like every month, every other month. It's probably linked to stress, I would say, if I had to, dig deep and look at all the different symbols and meanings. And yeah, I'm sure it's a stress related dream that comes about for some unknown reason. But
thank you for sharing that. I'm sure, whether it comes back again now, at least you know that you have told out loud.
Exactly. So maybe it won't.
So going back to the last two questions, if you could be an Olympic athlete, in which sport would you compete?
Oh, if I could be an athlete, I would say figure skating. I cannot ice skate at all, but if that was like not based on my own abilities, I think figure skating, because I'm mesmerized. I just, that's like one of those sports I love to watch. Winter Olympics, figure skating. What they can do on two, steel blades on ice is amazing. And it's just, yeah, if I could do that, that would be my sport, assuming that I knew exactly how to stand up on two skates. But that aside, I would say figure skating.
Nice. So what's the most ridiculous fact or story you know?
Oh, the most ridiculous fact. Well, the most ridiculous fact I actually learned from my child driving to school 2 weeks ago, where it was all quiet, driving to school in the morning. And he said, "Did you know a flying squirrel weighs as much as a donut?" And I said, "No, I did not." So I'm sharing that with you, that a flying squirrel weighs as much as a donut.
Okay, definitely. I don't know. I'm sure many listeners might not know as well.
See?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Very smart kid. Very smart kid. Keep listening to your child and keep sharing more of these facts. Yeah. Beautiful. So who are the people who have been the most influential in your life and career?
Ooh, most influential. I've had a lot. I would say the most influential is probably my parents. They, I feel, were so supportive growing up in everything that I wanted to do, and whether I succeeded or failed, back in grade school or high school or even college, they were just tremendously supportive of me and my efforts and knowing, what I wanted to do. And even to this day, they're still really supportive when I said, hey, I think I'm going to change jobs. And I found this amazing job and new career opportunity. They've been very supportive along the way for that. And just good work ethic overall. Just really instilling in me at a very young age of what it means to be, hard, to work hard, to not give up to what you want, to stand up for what you want to do and believe in. So I definitely think my parents had a big impact on kind of how I approach things in my life. And then also my grandfather years ago, I remember him saying, just be a sponge, just learn everything, be open to anything and everything, write things down. He's like, you're going to not remember different experiences or things that are happening in your life, write them down, but be a sponge. And I really took that to heart. And I feel like that's kind of what led me to this very odd, but very fulfilling career path over the past, 15 or so years. It's being that sponge. So when I went to, work in the news industry, I was just kind of soaked it all in, dealing with personalities and personas and people and timelines and how to manage your life and expectations of yourself and others. And then carrying that through when I went, all the way to my very first proposal role of being, just immersed in what you're doing. If you're going to do something, then do it, be all in, soak it all in. And then you kind of pick apart the good and the bad. You realize what are good things to focus on and what are not. And just being able to kind of sort that in your mind and your emotions, and just kind of sticking with the good and building upon the good, and how you can continue to make it, better in those experiences, and how like I deal with, people or situations, or it's really just come back down to that super simple of like, just be a sponge, which has been so impactful, I think.
Totally, 100%. What a beautiful advice, that one. Thank you for sharing that, Hilary. So what's one personal trait you like the most about yourself?
The one trait? I guess I would have to say, I guess my eyes would be something that I like the most. Yeah.
I wish I can see your eyes now, but this is audio format. Next time we will do it.
Yes.
Format. Exactly. I will leave it to the listeners to visualize what could be. Nice. So who haven't you spoken or talked to in a long time, and you hope that they're doing okay?
Haven't spoken to in a long time. Probably it's one of my earlier mentors in my career. She was a coworker and colleague, and she lives in Colorado right now. She's long retired out of kind of the proposal and BD industry, but she was a really great mentor, and I haven't talked to her for a long time. I definitely need to text her and call her. She's at the top of my mind. When I see different things, it reminds me of her. And so I hope she's doing okay. Yeah.
Okay, so what's that one common myth in our profession that you would like to debunk?
It's a tough one.
Nothing is tough for you, Hilary. Come on.
I don't know. I'm stumped.
Really? Okay, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
So what advice would you give to fellow bid and proposal professionals or marketing professionals who are looking to pursue a similar career like yours?
I think it would go back to the piece of advice would be to know what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be, what you want to do at this very moment. It can be, 5 years, 10 years, a month down the road, but know what you want to do and help to think of all the ways that you can get there, right? Sometimes it might be, networking, right? You might know someone that can help you kind of achieve what you want to do faster. Sometimes it's not, and you just kind of have to make your own path. But I think if you kind of sit down and think about what do you want to be, where do you want to go, and then using whatever experiences that you have to kind of get you to where you need to be. Because I feel that's what I did for, a lot of my, career. I knew what I wanted to do, but maybe I didn't have exactly the right quals or skill sets at that specific moment. But I think it's just knowing and then how to tell your story, your own story, so that someone says, okay, I can see it. I can make that connection. I can believe in you to help you make that jump and kind of give you that opportunity. So I think a lot of people just assume, oh, I haven't done that and I can't become that. It's like, no, you can. You have to just really start to think about what it is that you want to achieve and where you want to go, and how you can leverage the skills and the experiences to help make that possible. Because, you know what you want to do. Other people might not know what you want to do. So you have to kind of help create that path, that plan for yourself, and let it be known, as is the most important part of that too. It's not just enough to make the plan. You've got to be bold enough and brave enough to make the leap or make the jump. Just don't assume that people know what it is that you want to do, because only you know what you want to do.
That's a beautiful advice. Thank you for sharing that, Hilary. Hilary, if we are having this conversation 3 years from now, what do you think you should have achieved in your life and career that you consider, yes, I had a successful 3 years?
I would say in my career now, with what I'm doing, I would want to be able to, obviously have a successful experience where I could show that I've moved the needle, that I've made an impact on what I'm doing, for the company that I work for, what we're trying to achieve. So to me, that would be, something really successful that I could stack up, key performance indicators against, some really crazy, like big brand awareness campaign, maybe it's, I don't know, something large, something big, something that would go viral, something that would have a lot of impact, a lot of people talking. If I could do that and have really good stats against it to show that it was worth it, then to me, that would be a really big success in what I do right now. I don't know what that big idea will be, but if I have 3 years to figure it out, then I will make it happen.
100% it will happen. I'm sure wishes will be with you on this, Hilary, just to keep thriving. Hilary, before we close the episode, is there any part of your life or career, or is there anything else you would like to share?
No, I think that's it.
That's it. Thank you so much, Hilary, for your time today. It's been an absolute privilege to have you with us at Scribble Talk. Wish you, your family, your friends at Maximus, and everybody around you all the good health and happiness. Continue to inspire us, continue to be happy, and I'll speak to you very soon. Thank you, Hilary.
Thank you again for having me.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit batchyscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundram,
signing off.